In all of Chinese history, there is one ruler who influenced China so much that he helped create what China is today. That man is Mao Zedong, the man who created the People's Republic of China. His mistakes, his errors, his message of social and essentially racial purity, and even his victories would define China for the half of the 20th century and for the 21st. He first made headlines when he created the People's Republic of China in 1949. His communist ideals and fear of Western influences would guide China's foreign policies for decades. However, he would soon be vilified with the Great Leap Forward. In this argument, Mao and his supporters wanted to increase farm and industrial output. He argued for collectivization, or the forced pooling of peasant land and labor in order to increase productivity. His opponents, however, argued for increasing incentives for production, which would help farmers. Mao and his supporters won and implemented the Great Leap Forward in 1958, and it continued to grow to 1960. However, problems arose in 1959 to 1962 when approximately 30 million people died due to starvation or a combination of malnutrition and disease. Due to the enormous negative impacts of the Great Leap Forward, the Communist Party was criticized and Mao was forced to step down as head of state and withdrew his leadership from the CCP. From 1961 to 1964, China implemented more moderate economic policies which helped improve the depressing economic situation. However, Mao's influence did not end with the death of the Great Leap Forward. He came back into the public side with the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution, which started in 1966 and lasted until 1976. Essentially, this revolution was a dispute over what kind of culture and art should be supported by the Communist Party. However, the Maoist faction won again and anointed the Red Guards, which were the vanguard for the Chinese generation. For the next decade, tensions would rise between the army and the Red Guards. For example, from 1967 to 1969, Mao implemented the Campaign to Purify Class Ranks, which sought to humiliate any party members containing any link to the West. Countless of innocent people were humiliated in public because of their backgrounds and were forced to learn Mao's line of thinking. In 1970 and 1971, Mao surprisingly backed off of his fundamentalist, unyielding ideology that he had proposed and emulated during his political career. Then in September of 1971, his second-in-command, Minister Liang Biao, died under suspicious circumstances. Because of Mao's retraction of his previous beliefs and the suspicious death of Biao, a large portion of the Chinese bourgeois began to lose their faith in the CCP. Mao's earlier opponents returned to the government and Mao's influence began to fade. Eventually, the country began to open up to the outside world, seeking new technology and ways to improve its struggling economy, and even re-established direct contact with the United States in 1971. Mao's influence faded into inexistence with his death in 1976. However, the period after Mao's death would have its roots strongly in anti-Maoism. Corruption became prevalent in the CCP and media was beginning to attract attention to the inefficiency of the government. Protests demanded more democratization and an end to corruption. While the party tried to control the students that demanded change, the protest views would eventually be adopted by China itself. In fact, it was Deng Xiaoping who helped usher in a period of economic reform. In 1978, the new economic policies put into effect focused on the four modernizations: industry, agriculture, science, and technology. At this point of Chinese history, China had been isolated from the rest of the scientific world, had outmoded universities, and did not have access to advanced equipment and technology. The Chinese government then gained support of the United Nations Development Program in 1978. The projects included establishment of overseas on-the-job training and academic programs and processing centers at important government units. China was then able to be included in the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank. The four modernizations helped make China a great economic power by the early 21st century. Furthermore, these reforms stressed economic self-reliance. China would later open up foreign trade and was able to speed up its economic development through foreign investments in a more democratic market. In the 1990s, Jiang Zemin, Li Peng, and Wu Rongji helped increase China's economic performance, pulling 150 million peasants out of poverty and bringing the average GDP to 11.2%. Mao's struggle for power and eventual decline is one of the most important struggles for China. His misguided views which fueled communist China eventually led to the rise of an economic powerhouse. After his death, China vastly changed its economic values in order to survive, making it one of the most important economic powers in the world. This isn't just about China, however. This also influences the United States due to the fact that China trades so much with America. It is the largest foreign holder of the U.S. debt and owns $1.16 trillion in U.S. Treasury bonds. Its economic influence is undeniable, especially with its contact with the United States. China's economy continues to grow today and it is largely the way it is due to Mao's economic beliefs, and thus Mao has undeniably changed China and the world forever.